Ladies, listen, what you need to do right now is go get your husband, go get your boyfriend, go get your teenagers and set them in front of the television. And then you need to leave the room because this program is for men only. Welcome to our program for men only. Now, ladies, listen, if you're watching, you're supposed to turn the dial. You're supposed to go maybe find your boyfriend, your husband, your son, put them in front of the television. But and the reason is because this program is for men only, not for ladies. So listen, right now we're in Rothbury, Michigan at the Winston Speedway. I don't know if you can see behind us or hear some of the noises behind us. There's going to be a mud run. I think it's a Big Head mud run that we're going to be getting some clips from that, and guys running through a mud pit and trucks and mud flying all over the place. Who knows? Maybe that'll start in the middle of our program. We might get some mud all over us. But we're so glad you're with us today. My good friend Kim Sear. Kim, good to have you. Is here with us today. And really the purpose of this program, the reason that we do this program for men only, and our philosophy is this: we believe that there's an eagle and a turkey on the inside of every man. And it's the one that gets talked to that usually rises to the ascendancy. And what we've seen in our culture today and a lot of society today is the one of those two birds, the bird that usually gets talked to is the turkey. So a lot of men end up acting like turkeys and groveling around. But we actually believe that there's eagles on the inside of every man. And man, if you're watching, we believe that there's greatness on the inside of you. We believe that there's quality, there's moral excellence on the inside of you. And really what this program is designed towards is we're going to just talk about the things that call for that eagle, call for that greatness on the inside of men. Mm-hmm. And you know, Kim, I believe that every man was created with a level of greatness on the inside of him to do something. Mm-hmm. Whether it may not be that they become a superstar or something, but I believe there's greatness for a man to be a great husband, a great father, a great worker, maybe a great employer. I mean, to do something that affects their community, their home. One of the greatest things a man can be is a hero to his children. Mm-hmm. And we believe that greatness is on the inside of every man watching. And so what we want to do with this program is we're going to go to some man settings like today. Mud's going to be flying, and we're going to have some fun around here. We're actually on the track where they do some racing down through here, some drag racing here. So we hope we get done before the drag racing starts. But we're out in a man location. But listen, man, we believe that there is greatness on the inside of you, and we're calling for that greatness. And we believe that there are some qualities that help form that greatness in our lives. And so one of the things, Kim, the other day I get a lot of my news off of AOL. That's my internet service provider, and they usually have 20, 30 little things that come up, in the news. And I was looking through it a couple months ago, and as I was reading along, they had an article in there about in search of real men. Oh,
I can't imagine what was in that.
Yeah, well, no, actually, it was a great article. Good? Yeah, I'm sitting here and going, man, knowing that we were doing this TV program, I thought, I've got to read this, And it was interesting because they were saying in this article, this was a secular article on AOL.
Sure.
And in this article, they were saying, man, what's a real man look like? And maybe real men are hard to find today. And they were even talking about real men and fake men, that there are some guys. And I'm reading this and I'm going, truth is, I think I could have wrote the article.
Oh, well, good.
Yeah,
it must be on the right track.
Yeah, but it was interesting, and they were really talking about what are the characteristics or what are the traits of a real man. And because they were saying even that women were looking for real men. What's a real man look like today? And almost they said there was a little bit of a challenge today because where are the real men? So what I ended up doing, I read that article and I thought this is great. And then what I did, I went to almighty Google. You know,
boy.
People say if it's on the internet, I mean, it's got to be true. But I went to Almighty Google, if I can say it that way, and what I did is I just searched for traits of real men, characteristics of real men.
Okay, good.
And I went and I found a website, and it gave 10 characteristics, 10 traits of real men. Now, we're going to deal with one today. Now, I want to say when I read that, somebody goes and takes a look at that, and they'll go, man, let's see what these things say. I don't agree with everything they said. There's a few of them in there that I go, no, we can't, I can't agree with that. But yet, what I want to do is hit on one, and this was one of their traits. And Kim, part of the reason I wanted you on this program is because, we've known each other now, goodness,
forever.
Since we're getting on 28 years or so.
So I mean, in there, yeah. Long time.
And we have been in the trenches together, and we have, we've done stuff, and we've done ministry together.
Right.
And 28 years is a long time. But when I think of this characteristic we're going to talk about today, if there's anybody that I know that probably exemplifies this, it's you. And so that's why I wanted to be on.
So.
Okay.
We'll see here.
Well, now we'll have to see. I'll have to read this. But this is one of the traits. This is not. Now I'm a preacher. I'm a pastor here in Muskegon, Michigan. I'm a Bible man. I believe the Bible. But yet this is not we didn't get this from the Bible. We got this from the internet, and not from a Christian site. But it says this: that one of the traits of a real man is a real man's word is his bond.
Ah, very good.
And then it says, when a real man makes a promise, he keeps it. If he can't keep a promise, he doesn't give his word. A real man, now this is an interesting one. This is off of just the internet.
Oh, yeah.
A real man a real man would rather die than break his word. A real man knows that his words are as powerful as his actions, and that they must be taken at face value. That is why he rations them.
Interesting.
Yeah, that is a mouthful. And this isn't even from a Christian man, per se.
Yeah, exactly.
But a real man, his word is his bond. Now listen, we're going to take a break. You're liable to see some clips from the mud run and stuff. We're going to be showing you some stuff. And we'll be back in a couple minutes, and we're going to talk about that a real man's word is his bond. Once again, we're at Winston Speedway in Rothbury, Michigan. You're probably going to hear some sounds. They're getting ready for their Big Head Mud Run here in a little bit, and so there's a lot of activity going on around us. But Kim, you and I are here, and we're talking about this thing I found on the internet, which is pretty good, about what are the traits of a real man. And I read that in the last segment, that a real man, his word is his bond, that a real man makes a promise and keeps it. Now, Kim, you're a man. I mean, I said we've known each other for 28 years, and you're a man of your word. You work hard to keep your word, and you expect others to keep it, which can cause you to be frustrated a little time.
Yeah.
But why is it important for a man to keep his word?
Well, I think it boils down to integrity. You know, the world today is looking desperately for men of integrity. You know, men who keep their word, and that's where it starts. I mean, that's almost square one. That's the basics. Is to do what you say what you're going to do. You know.
Okay, what happens when a man? All right, you've had to deal with men that didn't keep their word.
Yeah.
What does that do to your opinion of them?
Well, it's all boils down to a trust issue. I will take somebody who let's say I first meet somebody. I'll take them and I will take them at their word until they prove to me that their word is no good. And there are people that I can trust. I know that, my brother Kelly, I think, was one that we talked about. If I call him, I tell him to do something or ask him to do something. He tells me he's going to do it. I don't think about it twice.
It's done.
It's going to get done. That's because that's the way he is. He's a man of integrity. He's a man of his word.
So he keeps his word. So, could I say this? Maybe the measure of a man is really a measure of how well he keeps his word.
Oh yeah, yeah. You're not going to go forward, to move forward as a man unless that is bottom line where you start.
So a man and his word, if his word ain't any good, you could almost say the man isn't any good.
Well, you can't trust him.
You can't trust him.
You can't trust him. And what is somebody who tells you something and doesn't do it? Oh, we won't talk about that.
Well, now, what happens to, I sit and I think if a man gives his word to his wife, we're going out on a date, or I'm going to do this,
boy.
or what happens when a man doesn't keep his word to his wife?
Well, that's not a good situation. He's probably going to end up sleeping on the couch that night. I mean, that's the way it is.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And if he does it enough times, pretty soon she comes to realize that she can't trust the guy. And when you get to that position in life, you're in deep trouble.
Okay, I remember. I'm going to confess for a second.
Oh, boy, here we go.
All right.
Listen up,
well, on
everybody.
television,
The pastor's confessing.
Okay. I remember one time it was one of those times I'd made a promise to my wife, and I didn't keep it, and she got real upset about it. And I don't do that often.
Right.
But I remember she got so upset about it, she actually looked at me and got in my face and said, "You're a liar."
That was the point I was going to make.
And you know what? I couldn't argue with it. I couldn't argue with it. You know, and it was
that
actually,
hurts.
yeah. Well, the truth was, it didn't happen all that often, so it was a shock that when I said I'd do something and I didn't do it.
Yep.
But it, and in one sense, it wasn't that big a deal, but it was a big deal to her.
One of the things that's important between a man and a woman is that their hearts be open and that they be honest with each other. They be able to read each other's hearts. It's like I see you. I see your spirit. I see your heart. I know who you are on the inside. If you lie to your wife by telling her you're going to do things and then you don't do them, her heart starts to close up, and pretty soon you can't get in there anymore.
Okay.
Everything is affected.
Yeah, everything.
Everything.
And I think sometimes, we're talking to men. This is men talk.
Okay,
Ladies,
let's
you
go.
aren't supposed to be watching.
Plug your ears.
Okay. Some men talk about their wives being cold, and some of it is because of what you've done.
Exactly. Exactly.
Somebody said this. Charm only lasts for a little while, and in marriage, at first it's all love. I'm in love with this person,
yeah.
and seeing as how you and I got a few years on us now, good looks wear off.
Oh yeah, it happens.
And charm wears off.
Yep.
But then all that's left in the end is character. And a woman might fall in love with the good looks or the charm.
Right.
But what she stays in love with is the character.
Yeah. Yep.
And if a man doesn't maintain that character or that integrity, part of the reason maybe a woman's love is affected is because she doesn't trust the character.
Well, and this is another, I don't know how this fits exactly, but this is another thing that just came to me was part of that being honest with your wife is when she's having a conversation with you and talking to you, that you are listening to her. You're not reading the newspaper or watching TV and going, I found that there's an extreme difference when you sit face to face with her, talk to her, and listen to her. You're being honest with her then. Your integrity's coming out then, and that will do wonders for the relationship. Believe me.
Yeah, and maybe if we would make especially promises face to face and in seriousness,
Right.
we might be more apt to keep them than I'll do that. While you're reading the newspaper, you're watching the ball game, and you're making a promise. It's sort of half-hearted promise.
Yeah. Oh, I said that? Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe some of that is just being honest with one another, looking at your wife eyeball to eyeball, and taking your words seriously. Because truth is, she's going to take them seriously.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Believe me.
Now listen, we'll be back in a few moments. You might see some more mud run, but we're going to have fun here at the Winston Speedway. See you in a moment.
Hi, this is Tony Rory with the Men of Honor program. I'm here today in a public school classroom where we mentor and train world changers ages 11 to 17 in principles of honor, chivalry, and integrity. One of the most important things that we do with young people is teach them their identity in Christ. You know, the enemy always wants to push young people down and push men down, but God always wants to lift us up and help us to see ourselves as He sees us. He sees us as great. He sees us as conquerors. He sees us as overcomers and world changers. Today I want to challenge you. Find God's identity for your life rather than what the enemy has to say about you. Be a man of God. Be a man of honor today.
Once again, we're at Winston Speedway in Rothbury. They're getting ready for their Big Head Mud Run, and you're going to see a lot of activity behind us, and we're looking forward to that. We're on their drag track, so hopefully we'll get done before all the mud starts flying. But I'm hoping to get in one of those vehicles and go through the mud.
All right. Better you than me.
All right. Now, we've been talking about some of the traits of a real man. What are the characteristics of a real man? And one of those, Kim, we were talking about is a man's word is his bond.
Right.
That he will do everything he can to keep his word. And we really read this in terms of that it said that a real man would rather die than to break his word. A real man knows that his words are powerful as his action and that he must be taken at face value.
Yep.
And that really the measure of a man, how somebody values a man, is directly in relation to the way the man keeps his word. Is he a man of his word?
Exactly.
And you know, now as a pastor, I think, you know, the same thing holds true with God. You know, I mean, part of the reason we can trust God is God's a God of His word.
Yep.
And if we expect Him, or if He expects to watch over, actually the Bible says He watches over His word to perform it, we ought to watch over our word to perform it.
Oh yeah.
Now, Kim, we were talking about last segment about how important it is for a man to keep his word to his wife, to make.
Right.
You know, I think it's good to make promises. It's good to make commitments.
Sure.
It's good to say, honey, I'm going to take you out on a date, or yeah, honey, I'm going to take out the garbage. I hate that, but yeah, you know, honey, yeah, I'm going to fix this, and then do it. Those are important. How important is it for a father to keep his word to his children?
Well, that's a huge thing, and the reason I say that is because children normally, and depending on their age, you know, usually when they're growing up little, they start to get a little bigger. They kind of idolize daddy. You know, daddy's in a lot of cases a hero. Well, we hope he is. That's what, you know, we'd like to see him be. And one of the ways you can tarnish that image or even destroy that image as my hero, daddy's my hero, is not do what you tell them you're going to do. I'm going to take you out. I'm going to go take you hunting next Saturday, son. You know, we'll get the 22, we'll go out and we'll shoot some squirrels. Yeah, dude, and all week he's excited and ready to rock and roll. And then Friday afternoon comes and your buddy's calling, hey, dude, we're going golfing, man, no charge. All right, this really nice golf course. We get to go no charge, dude, tomorrow. Oh, all right, so what are you going to do? You going to tell your son, sorry, I couldn't make it. We'll do it another time, son. Or are you going to keep your word to it? That's tough.
And what does that do to
his
easy? And what does that do to his son if he chooses?
His son finds out who's really, really important to him.
What's really important.
What's really important.
Yeah. You know, I sat and think the other day, I'd promised my daughter, she's 17 and she hadn't learned how to drive, and so I promised to take her out. Actually, not too far from here. I said I was going to take her out
somewhere
and teach her to drive.
Remote area,
yeah.
I hope.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Where
the roads are blocked off on this end and that end. There you go.
And what ended up happening was we're doing some work at my house, and a guy was going to help me. Said, hey, I can work there. I can come do that. And it looked like, I thought, oh my goodness, what do I do? And I was in a bit of a quandary because this guy's going to come over and, you know, you need to be there if they're going to help.
Sure.
And so I said, you know what? And I'm thinking, boy, I don't know if and I could see the look on her face to have said.
Her heart was breaking, wasn't it?
Yeah, you know, because you want to say, honey, can we do it? You know, and I said, all right, we won't go running way out because here in Rothbury's a little bit of ways from my house. I said, listen, get your shoes on, let's go. And I took her a little bit closer where there, you know, on some back roads, but I let her drive down, you know, I took her driving about 15, 20 minutes. Sure. And I got back to the house, which would have taken me that long just to get out of here. Yeah. But you know, I just kept my word to her. And she got out of the car. It wasn't exactly what we were thinking it was going to be. Right. And the guy got there to do that work, but he had started before I got back. But the fact that I did what was necessary to keep my word to her. And she was walking around like, Dad took me driving. And there was that battle on the inside. But I had to keep my word because of what it would do on the inside of her.
I had another situation where my wife, the place that she works, there's an individual there, and they're having a celebrity golf outing. So you got all these celebrities coming in, and he was offered to be a caddy for one of these celebrities. I mean, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, they were selling these golf. You could golf with the celebrity for anywhere from 10 to 50 grand to earn money for the cause, let's say, and he had to decline. You know, and my wife asked him, you don't want a caddy? He says, well, my son's got a football game.
Oh, my. And you know what that says to a son?
It's a big deal.
I remember one time I was on a mission trip. I was overseas, and my son had a baseball game.
Oh, yeah.
And I was able to get to the airport, and I was able to change all the tickets. And I remember when I pulled up, and he was playing the outfield, and so I got in. I didn't let him know. I told my wife, don't let him know.
You weren't even there.
Yeah, I tell him I'm not going to be able to make it. And I remember I got there, I changed all the flights. I was able to adjust it.
Nice.
And I got there, and I just went out and stood and leaned on the fence out in the outfield, and he's shagging balls and stuff.
Sure.
And then all of a sudden he looked up and he went,
what are you doing here?
yeah. Oh, man, you know, it was like, what are you doing? I said, son, I want to come watch you play ball.
Exactly.
And what that does on the inside of a child, a son, a daughter,
Yep.
the value that it gives them. You know, and I think maybe sometimes that aspect of value, the more valuable they see themselves, the less likely they are to do some wrong things.
Exactly. I think you're right about that.
You know, and some of the ways we show that our children are valuable is by keeping our word.
Exactly.
Oh, man.
Exactly.
Okay, listen, we're going to be back in our last segment in a few moments, and we're going to talk some more on the importance of a man keeping his word. Once again, we're here at Winston Speedway. They're about to have their big head mud run, and we hope we get done before the mud starts flying. You're going to see a lot of activity going on behind us as trucks are coming in. And they're going to hit this water pit behind us, mud pit. But, you know, Kim, I want to talk a little bit, and maybe before we do, we'll talk about how a man can fix it. But something came to me that one of the reasons, or one of the effects of a man not keeping his word to his children is they stop respecting him. And I feel like some men are battling with saying, my kids don't respect me.
Right.
Well, sometimes the reason they don't respect you is because you've not kept your word to them. So they've lost respect for you. So that just sort of came up in my heart that, you know, men, if you want your kids to respect you, you need to be a man of your word. Your word needs to be, especially to your kids, needs to be very important.
Exactly.
Now, Kim, how can a man that has messed up, and let's just say somebody's watching and they're going, you know, they're sort of slumping in their chair, their shoulders are down, and they're going, man, I thought this would be fun, but man, this guy's been beating on me. You know, I mean, I've not done that well with my word. You know, what could a man do? What's maybe a first step to fixing this situation? Maybe he's not kept his word to his wife, his kids, you know, maybe friends, even to the point that his friends don't have much value in him or respect for him.
Exactly.
What can a man do?
Well, I think one of the first things, and this will sound real simple, but it's not going to be real easy to do, guys. One of the first things you need to do, go to your children, go to your wife, and say, I'm sorry. And that's one of the most difficult things I think a man can do, because
go to your girlfriend.
Go to your girlfriend. I mean, whoever. But we all deal, men in particular, I believe, with pride issues, and you know, that's a difficult thing to kind of humble ourselves and say, you know, I haven't done right, And the next thing I think is, and I think we talked about this, is to, all right, in the future from here on out, you know, you go to your son, from here on out, son, I'm not gonna make any commitments to you that I can't keep anymore. And I want you to bring me up on it if I do. I want you to come to me and say, Dad, you told me we were gonna do this, now we're not gonna do it. And hold me accountable.
Ooh,
I need you to hold me accountable.
So maybe apologize. That might get some. That might be the first step in getting some respect back.
That's the first part.
Maybe even apologize to your wife. Maybe she'll start respecting you more. Girlfriend, boss, friends.
Whoever it is.
Yeah, and I like what you said. Tell them that they can hold you accountable.
Yep.
So that means they can look at you and say, "You promised.
That's right.
You gave me your word."
That's right. Because sometimes your wife will just, like we talked about in the last segment, is just kind of close herself off. She won't even bring it up anymore because you've done it enough times where it's like she's like, no use in even talking to him. Let her know that things are changing. Please tell me when I do that to you, because sometimes I don't even realize that.
Okay, so you said repent, our Bible word, repent,
Turn around,
apologize,
apologize. Yep.
Then give them the ability to hold you accountable.
That's right.
Yeah, and tell them that they got that opportunity, and you know what?
And say, please,
they will.
please.
They will.
They will.
They
So
definitely.
you're going to have to humble yourselves again, because they're going to do it to you, and you're going to say, all
right.
They're right.
All right. Then another thing is, I think, maybe stop making so many promises.
Exactly.
You know, don't say I'm going to do this, and you know, I mean,
Exactly.
You know,
I've been guilty of that. I'll tell you, too many things going on at once, and all of a sudden you got to choose, and just don't get yourself in that situation. Learn to say, no, I can't make it. Sorry.
Okay. So, but then, only make commitments you plan on keeping.
Exactly.
And I might say, just be serious about them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I might even say this. Now, I have people as a pastor, and all the activities I'm involved in, I have people come to me and, will you do this, or can you do this, and things like that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man.
And part of the thing that I do is I look at them and I say, I want to do this, but listen, I need you to do a couple things for me.
Right.
Email me.
Right.
Send me a text message.
Help me.
Call me and give me leave me a voicemail.
Right.
And I look at them and I say, I've got every intention of doing what you're asking me to do.
Yep.
But if I don't get a reminder, or I said, let me write it down.
If that's what you need, however you need them to remind you, you know, whatever you got to do to remind yourself that, geez, I made this commitment. And if it's tell the person, hey, I'll do it if you call me, I'll do it if you text me, but you're going to have to email me. I got so many things on my schedule. And if that's the way it rolls for you, that's what you're going to have to do.
Yeah, you got to find your system. But I want to say part of it is when I give my word and I'm serious about it, I want to follow through. You know, my intentions, you know, that old saying, you know, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. But you know, you can have good intentions, but it comes down to follow through.
Right.
And so that's why I say that. I take what I'm saying seriously, and because I take it seriously, these are the steps I know that will help me get it done.
Exactly.
Okay. Now listen, we trust today's program has been of value to you. Listen, man. One of the keys, one of the steps, the traits of a man that is a quality man, that is a real man, the characteristics of a real man is he keeps his word. His word is his bond. He treats his word seriously. We've given you some reasons why. Maybe we've even given you some help on how you might be able to do that. With technology today, we got a lot of help with that.
Oh, yeah.
But man, I'm going to tell you, to be the man that you were created to be the eagle that you need to be, for that greatness to come out of you, man, we need you to be a man of your word. Begin to take your word seriously. Keep your word to your family. Keep your word to your boss, your friends, your children, your wife. And as you do that, you'll begin to be the man that God created you to be and be that eagle that soars. Thank you for joining me.